as well. Stay tuned. ANAA DHUFUU, doctor.
ANAA DHUFUU.
Let me start from the tradition of the Oromo to tell yourself, including your clans.
I belong to the Limmu clan, and the Limmu is one of the Salgam Macha. And then Macha is part of the Borana Oromo. Borana and the Barentumma is there. And Limmu, this Limmu, there are a number of Limmus. We have Limmu in Eastern Wallaga now. We have Limmu in Jimma zone. Actually it is Limmu there too. I don't know how, this is really very interesting. It's not only Limmu, but a number of different clans are there like this in Oromo. And I'm from Eastern Wallaga, Limmu from Eastern Wallaga, and then I'm a peasant child. I went to elementary school at Limmu primary and junior secondary school, just there. And from then there was no high school in Limmu, and I have to go to Jeddah, the next clan, the neighboring clan. The Jeddah is a neighboring class, and there is high school there. But I don't know how to come. It is said Gidda Senior Secondary School. Gidda Ayana Abiotfre Senior Secondary School. Gidda Ayana is a town, the capital city, where Gabayana was there, and then it was there that I went to high school. This was during the Darajjee regime, and I completed high school on when the Darajjee fall.
You first went to Katabe College, as you told me, and you studied English, and then to Addis Ababa University to study English and minoring of Oromo. What were the challenges in studying of Oromo in those days?
We had to read through different works, different writings in English about Oromo, in America about Oromo, and some few literature, limited literature is there in Afan Oromo, which was written in different Sabian alphabet, which the Amharic uses, and it was difficult for us to read that. But there are few literary works. We had to hunt for these things to read and to present as assignment and homework and the like in the university. So that during that time, I remember IES helped us a lot, because there are different documents that were written by English writers, German.
Institute of Ethiopian Studies.
Institute of Ethiopian Studies. And there are different writings, literature written by English, written by French, written by German scholars prior to that time, starting from how the idea of Oromo is started to be studied in Europe as well. And we come to learn that there were slaves who were who spoke Oromo, and they went to Europe both as slaves. So a certain Darajjee, a linguist, was hired or employed by the owner of those slaves to teach English, so that they can communicate with those with their masters. Yeah, and that Darajjee come to learn Afan Oromo from these slave children. I remember their name is still Akafet Edale, Oshuaga, Bilele, and a number of others, Astergano and Onasmos Nasib as well. We come to learn about Sheikh Bakri Sapalo and the others, how Afan Oromo broadcast started, especially in Arar radio at the time of the Haile Selassie regime. It is because of the starting of Afan Oromo as a broadcast medium in Somalia that Afan Oromo in Arab radio started to be broadcast.
To balance the situation in Mogadishu.
Yeah, to balance the situation in Mogadishu, to attract the attention of the Oromo to listen to the radio. Propaganda and the counter propaganda is there, and so this is the exposure we have.
After you graduated from Arsia University, you directly went to Jimma Teachers College, and you taught there of an Oromo, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Then to Jimma University, and I heard that you were the first to contribute for the establishment of Oromo folklore and literature in Jimma University.
Definitely.
And how was the situation? How can you tell us the challenges you faced?
Well, the challenges are a lot because one, there is a field of study known as folklore, that is a worldwide subject learned through different parts of the world, but you have to adapt that system to the existing situation in Oromo. That was a very beginning, the challenge at the beginning. What does the Oromo have to be learned if you devise some course because it is given in other universities across the world? You have to understand the subject matter you are going to teach, how you bring those things to the use of love. You have to deal with this, you have to compromise this. It's not only you bring some subject from somewhere and include here, but you have to identify the subject matter to be learned. One of the things to be learned is rituals. You have to think about the nature and the field of Oromo rituals. You think about Atete, you think about Butta, you think about the Bali and so on and so forth, their performances, their natures, annual celebrations, right? The Irecha, like the Irecha, Fasa Irecha, and the like. So you have to compromise between the two. You have to balance between the two. That is the first challenge. After doing this, it was a challenge to convince the authorities of the university at different level to accept this as a field of study and to endorse it and for implementation.
Why do they challenge you?
Because it is not something new, it is not something familiar to them. You learn folklore, and why Oromo folklore? Oromo folklore is needed to be specified as Oromo because we have to deal with the data, actual existing data, so that we can study about Oromo.
Today, Jimma University is even the first university to establish the Oromo Studies Institute.
Definitely.
Do you think this is the achievement of your efforts?
Well, it is not 100% my efforts only, but also the efforts of a number of other individuals as well who are employed after the coming into being of the curriculum of Oromo folklore and the literature, and also those from Afan Oromo has contributed some, and others have contributed, but it has played one of the most important roles in it.
Do you think Afan Oromo has been well developed and promoted?
There are a number of changes, but it is not at the level that we are now at mature level. Because if you look at the nature of Afan Oromo broadcast, as I have already mentioned at the beginning, the start of Harar radio, and then the start of radio and television of Ethiopia. There are a lot of efforts that have been done, but the system, the way of speaking is something still we need to do better, and we need to do more in terms of changing Afan Oromo.
The BBC announced that it is to start the broadcasting in Afan Oromo. What's your comment on this?
That is great achievement.
What does that mean?
That means it is opening another opportunity for Afaan Oromo to develop, and the expert is the BBC has this pattern in terms of in English, in Swahili, in Arabic, in Somali, and the like, and the experts in Afaan Oromo from the BBC could have their own pattern of disseminating news and the like, and that will contribute another point of view from broadcast from journalism.
Let's talk about Oromo literature and publications as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Oromo or Afaan Oromo books and magazines and newspapers are well published in the country?
Well, it is fluctuating. Regarding publication, it is fluctuating. And in the case of film, this Abraham Jallata's book work is very interesting. It is very interesting, and others are coming, emerging, and that is making
like
a good Ela, and the others are making good contribution to the development of Oromo literature.
What would be the solution then to encourage our writers? What would be the contribution of wealthy people, the Oromo investors, and other, even the government of Oromo Region State, and culture and tourism, you know?
I think we have to create some kind of stage for these people to come together. The point is where they come together, where they need to come together must be established. We do not have such scenarios. We do not have such a stage to encourage our writers.
You are a man of literature and folklore who turned anthropologist. And you have conducted research on Butta around Gindabarat area. I know you worked on your PhD there around. And why that, and how come that happened?
Well, I learned anthropology for my PhD, and I worked it in India. And my intention was to study folk culture. And they invited me. You have got admission, temporary admission to our university to study folk culture, they said. And I went there. When I went there, they did not have a department of folklore or folk culture studies. What they had, what they have is a department of anthropology. And I checked. You need to go to English department, and we can only assign a joint guide for you. No, I am not here to study English. I am here to study folk culture. Look, the concept paper I have developed and sent it to them, I showed them, and how they invited me, I showed them. This is what how I come. And I am not intended to go to English. And then I convinced them to, and the nearest department was anthropology, and I went there. This is as a matter of chance. The good thing is, the topic, the concept paper I have developed is not changed. It continued. It was Butta ritual in Macha Oromo of Gindabarat. Gindabarat area, it is called Kuttae group. So I continued working on it. They admitted me to the Department of Anthropology, assigned a guide who can help me, and then I continued working on it. What I want to say here is my interest was to study folklore. I am very much interested in folklore still, yet, even though I am trained anthropologist.